Alright, welcome back. We're going to start today our semester-long drafting project, which is this is my high-tech graphics here, floor plan part 1, and we'll be going over this. And as you remember, everybody was given a little 11 by 17 handout of the floor plan, and there were some elevations in it, and then there's some schedules and a wall section. And that's what we're going to be working on this semester, is drawing this. Now what you need today is you'll need this floor plan 11 by 17 sheet that I gave you so that you can use it as a guide to draw it. But you're going to be drawing it on 18 by 24 paper at a quarter scale. Now don't try to scale too much off of this 11 by 17 because it's been reduced, and you may get a little bit, you will get bad results. But you can see all the dimensions that you need are already pre-programmed in there for you, so it should be pretty easy. So what's the tools you're going to need today? You're going to need your T-square, you're going to need a pencil, you're going to need paper, and you're going to need a triangle of some kind, and your scale. And again, you probably have a triangular scale, something like that, to do. Now we're going to do this initially. We're going to do a draft layout of the plan on just regular bond paper, which we have. I'll give you some sheets of that to work on, and then as you get a little bit closer and you work the bugs out, we'll put your vellum on top of it and trace it, so you hand in a nice clean project at the end, so it won't be all smudgy. So you get a chance to kind of work through some smudges today as we go through this and part by part. I'm going to take you line by line through this, and then we will take a break and we'll go on to part 2 a little later. So what I want you to do is go ahead and tape your paper down. Tape it square, so you'll need your T-square or some other mechanism to keep it square. You're going to go ahead and tape down the corners, and then we'll start drawing. You take a pencil, and feel free to just do this lightly because you're going to be doing some erasing to cut into doors and the windows and stuff like that. And again, we're going to trace it at the end with a little darker on your vellum. Again, this is on scrap paper or draft paper, so we're not wasting the expensive stuff. So what I want you to do, and we've all learned how to use a scale by now, we all have learned how to use a pencil, and we all have learned how to use the triangle by now. So that's what you need to do. We're going to start very simply by going up here to the top of the page. Just disregard this optional patio for the time being. You're going to start by drawing the perimeter walls, and you need to kind of look at how it's laid out in the sheet. You don't want it all slammed over to one side and you end up running out of room. You can't dimension it. But so we're going to start right here, as you see in the upper left hand corner of your drawing, and we're going to try to draw from there and come down so we smudge it the least. So that top line of your floor plan there is 50 feet long. You see that? So I want you to go ahead and draw that line across there. Don't worry about windows and doors now. Just go ahead and draw a line that is 50 feet long with your T-square and your pencil, and go ahead and do that. And as you catch up with that, you can certainly pause this before we start the next lines to go from. We're going to go ahead and get all the parameter and the perimeter of the building, and then we're going to work to the inside. Next, I want you to do is from that point where you just left, you just stopped, is you want to come down and draw a line on the outside of your floor plan all the way down that is 40 foot long and becomes the front edge of your garage at that point. And then go ahead and let's draw the right across the front of the garage, which is 20 feet 8 inches. Remember, we're drawing at a quarter-inch scale here. And go ahead and don't worry about the door again. Just draw a line all the way across and get to that corner, which is 20 feet 8 inches from that corner to that corner. Now it gets a little bit more complicated at this point, so we're going to jump over back to our starting point so that we don't have to do too much math and figure out where that indentation is. I want you to come back up here to where you started from, and I want you to draw a line 30 feet straight down to that corner right there. That's 30 feet long from right there, from where you started down, and that gets those outside bedroom walls that you see there in your on your drawing. Then we're going to come across the front bedroom 1 and 2 here, and what we want to do is we want to draw a, let's see if we can figure it out. So we got to do a little math at this point. So you want to add, this is part of the exercise, you want to add 11 foot 8, 5 foot 5 3/4, and 5 foot 10 1/4, and you should be able to add that up fairly simple. And this is part of the exercise. You need to do that and make sure you've drawn it in the correct fashion. So I'm not going to give you the answer, because it will tell on you if you've made a mistake. But double check again. 11 foot 8 plus 5 feet 5 3/4 inches and 5 feet 10 1/4 inches, and that's what you want to draw. The total of that length you want to draw all the way across here to the corner of that porch that is right there. And then you want to go up the space 2 feet and catch the front edge of that porch, and then you're going to come across 6 feet 4 inches for that front entry wall. And then from where you ended right there, it should be a matter of connecting those lines together. Take your time and really try to do this as accurate as you can, so that that closure point is as close as possible. Now the very next thing we want you to do is do the exact same thing around the perimeter, but we want to draw the inside portion of that wall. And again, remember, a 2x4, we're drawing 2x4 inch walls, and 2x4s are not 2 inches by 4 inches. They are 3.5 inches and 1.5 inches. So that's 1.5 by 3.5 really. But in reality, you can't draw that close a detail at quarter scale. So you can use the 4-inch measurement, but your math should work to 3.5 inches. So what you want to do is then, see if I can grab it, make sure you understand what I'm talking about. We're going to start again right up here where you drew those outside lines. So that outside line that you drew across there that was 50 foot long, you're going to come and you're going to offset from that top line down 3.5 or 4 inches on your scale, and draw the inside portion of that line, and go all the way around the perimeter and do that exact same thing that we did with the exterior wall. So you're going to start here, and you're going to come down 3.5 inches, and you're going to draw a line all the way across again. Don't worry about windows and doors or other walls hitting it. And then you're going to come down that 40 feet, but we're going to trim out the inside corners. And then again, you're still 3.5 inches off of that first line you drew, and you come all the way around the perimeter, 3.5 inches off, and until you close back up in that corner. Now in reality, probably what you just drew, just as an example, probably looks more like that, where those lines cross. In reality, what you want it to look like, so that's why I'm asking you to draw light, is you want it to actually turn the corner. They can overlap just a little bit, but they shouldn't go all the way through, or you can exactly turn the corners, which is probably the way your drawing shows you. But it was drawn with a computer, so it can be a little bit more accurate. So you can erase out those little pieces that overlap with your eraser, and you'll have nice clean lines at that point. So at this point, you should have the exterior walls defined. Again, not counting doors or windows. We're going to come back and do that all in one swoop. So you should look at it and kind of gauge yourself and see if you've gotten the exterior walls where you want them to be. So let's go ahead while we're still working on the outside, and we want to draw this optional patio in, which is, in this case, it's just a concrete patio, so it's just a single line. And what you want to do is you want to come over, and I'm measuring this because I can, but you can't from yours. We're going to say that from that line over from the edge of the building is 7 feet 6 inches, and then that patio is going to be 12 feet wide. So, and then it's going to come out 10 feet. So that's going to be 10 feet. So come here from this upper right hand corner of your building, measure over that 7 feet 6 inches to this point right here, and then you want to draw a single line right straight up that is 10 feet long to this corner. From there to there is 10 feet. And then you want to draw from here over to this corner a dimension of 12 feet. So draw that line right there, draw it 12 feet long, and then it's just a matter of taking that line and drawing it down with your triangle straight down to a point that it intersects the exterior and perimeter of your buildings. So take a minute and kind of gauge where you're at. We're going to be starting the interior of your plan in just a second in part 2, and part 2 will get more into the interior portions of this plan that we have going. So just take a minute and just double check all your dimensions around the perimeter and see if they in fact do add up and close out like you want them to, and you haven't made a mistake. Probably a place to double check is again these dimensions right here that you are adding to this dimension to get that line, and double check everything before we start our interior, because if our outside is wrong, it's definitely going to compound on the inside and make a error that you don't want to go back and start all over. So at this point we're going to take a little break, and you're going to just double check all your dimensions, and you'll come back and we'll start part 2, which is the interior portion of this floor plan. So we're going to take a little break.